Today's sponsor is Audible.com, who has more than 180,000 audiobooks and spoken word audio products. Get a free audiobook of your choice at www.audibletrial.com/Trending Topics with BB.
Hello and welcome to another rousing edition of Trending Topics with BB. I am your humble host, Brooke Brown, hence the BB. Thank you so much to all of you who have found this podcast on any platform that podcasts can be found, whether it's iTunes, Stitcher, Player FM, TuneIn Radio, the list goes on. Whatever your podcast platform, please subscribe and listen to this podcast. Speaking of that, if you are an iTunes or Stitcher listener, please leave a comment and a favorable rating. It helps this podcast be found by other listeners that may either not be able to find this podcast if they don't already subscribe. And speaking of subscribing, please follow on social media at Trending Topics with BB on Facebook, TT with BB on Instagram and Twitter, or log on to bbmediaindustries.com where you can find any other links and information surrounding this podcast. Well, I feel that I need to update you on my own intervention. I decided that after 7, almost 8 years of taking 40 milligrams of paroxetine, which is the generic form of Paxil, to end the madness and stop taking it cold turkey. And here's why. The reason I was originally on the medication, drug, whatever you want to call it, was due to an episode I had many years ago, anxiety attack, suicide, thoughts, depression, you name it. So after therapy, the doctors decide that after giving me a diagnosis of generalized anxiety disorder, that putting me on what they would call non-addictive or non-habit forming medication would do the trick. So I started taking it. It was, like I said, 40 milligrams once every morning for the last almost 8 years. Granted, there were some times where I ran out and it was horrendous because, as I found out, is that bullshit. There's no such thing as a non-habit forming medication that treats such like this. So basically, all these years, my doctor has been my dealer in prescribing me and making sure I have these medications, or having enough to have this medication. And I became addicted to this medication in order to function. But what I have come to realize is that while I've been on this medication, physically and emotionally, things really haven't improved. I still have a lot of anxiety. I still have a lot of deep-rooted issues that I really just needed to tackle head on. And it comes with time and maturity and learning and trying to make the best of your life. So I'm working on that. But along those lines, physically, I've gained a bunch of weight. I found out after doing research with a lot of other people that are struggling with this sort of addiction that it became a mind control drug in terms of what it does in the chemistry in the brain. It targets everything that is associated with pleasure, whether that be, if you're a foodie like myself, go eat food but not necessarily choose the right options when eating, which again subsequently led to my weight gain. Not only that, my need to find escapes or try things that may not be the best thing at the time that could lead to potential personal debt situations, money issues, still having to deal with anxiety, stress, having to deal with just living life. So basically, I've been on this since probably I was 22, 23, maybe 21. No, I'd have to say 22. And I've decided that along those specific struggles that I just mentioned, I'm fucking sick of the cycle I've been going on because it has mind controlled me to the fact that I haven't been able to figure out one simple thing, and that is what I want to do with my life in terms of a career, and sticking to jobs. I've been, not only, I kept blaming it on the recession, which the recession wasn't a bitch, but from the struggles of different positions that I've had at different companies over the years, and choosing and settling for what at the time I think would be a good job to take, and then realizing that's not really what I should have done, or I should have taken a second look at it. That's what I've been on, this roller coaster, which has led to a lot of the anxiety, which again came full circle. So the reason I brought up my age is that I have not enjoyed the last 8 years, most of my 20s. It's been a struggle, and I'm a few months away from turning 30, and I need to make some changes. And luckily enough, a few months ago, I probably met the love of my life. I'm saying that just because he's just been very supportive, and his knowledge and understanding the body has helped me do my own research and then come to this conclusion that I needed to stage my own intervention and figure out a way that I can naturally be healthier and tackle these issues head on. It's time to fucking realize and smell the roses that going to doctors and taking medications is not always the best thing to do, because a lot of these medications are just more harmful than they are helpful. Or they're just a band-aid that then turns harmful. And the epidemic of opioid addiction in this country should not go unnoticed. I now have become one of those victims of such addiction, and I just was like, I need to make a change. And so, as I'm recording this podcast and speaking to you, I have not taken my medication. I believe I'm going on day 8, day 9 situation where I've been using natural supplements such as tryptophan, vitamin D, 5-HTP, and St. John's wort. All can be found at a natural health store that sells supplements. They're natural ways to address the anxiety and stress that are literally non-addictive, and they're natural. And I've been taking those ever since I stopped taking my medication, and it's helped my withdrawal symptoms be a lot less than maybe years ago when I'd run out of my medication and thought I was dying. I have had some withdrawal symptoms, but they have not been as intense as previously experienced. So my goal with this is to help all of those out there with like situations and figure out, I'm not trying to tell you what to do, but I'm just saying from my own personal experience and research, I needed to make a change. I needed to get off this drug and stage my own intervention. The doctors were never gonna help me get off this drug. Every time I went to a doctor, they were like, do you want more drugs? Which did not make sense. And I'm just sick of being in a not as physical shape as I was many, many years ago due to what I've already explained as some of the side effects of taking this drug. So this episode is really just to kind of update people on my personal situation, and maybe you're struggling with some sort of same situation, and maybe you need to look into your own research and kind of figure out what you are putting into your body, and if it's really the best thing to do. A lot of the problems, I think, stem from miseducation, or just not doing the research and not talking to people that have A, been in a situation, or B, of the like. So I really encourage you out there to be more alert about really what you're putting in your body, from anywhere from the types of drinks to food, as well as any medication. I'm really positive that being that I'm feeling better these days as opposed to what I thought I would be feeling when I first decided to get off the medication, is going to lead me to a medication-free life and more of control where I can become healthier. I can head back into the gym. I have already started eating better. So it's just to eliminate the cycle of harming our bodies and to ensure that we know exactly what is going on. And so with that, I just wanted to update those. And I also have put a couple of videos on my YouTube channel under Brooke Brown or Saxy15, wherever the easiest way to subscribe to my YouTube channel about this situation. But I really kind of wanted to go a little bit more in depth and talk about this for those that love this podcast or are finding this podcast or may be in the same situation. So I hope you have a wonderful weekend, as this will be posted on a Friday. And I will talk to you in the future. And thanks again. And this is BB signing off for this episode of Trending Topics with BB.